Hey there, everybody. Kelly Filetto here. And this is all about the grit, guts, and courage show. And in this show, we talk to people who have been through some sort of a challenge and they found the grit, guts, and courage to get through it. And today, my guest is Donna Fairhurst. And she's just such a beautiful, lovely soul, and I love her so much. And so, Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. It's an honor to be here with you today.
Well, and it's such an honor to have you on the show. So, Donna, we're just going to jump right into it. Tell us the story of grit, guts, and courage.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm honored to be coming from the unceded territory of the Syilx and Okanagan peoples, and I'm grateful for the lessons they are bringing forth to our country and humanity now. I've been through so much in my life, Kelly. It's hard to pick a story. My whole life people have been saying to me, you need to write a book, or this is at least a movie, because nobody could go through everything you've gone through and still be here talking about it. I'm not a young thing like you. I'm in my 70s now and proud to be here. I guess the story that I'm using for the book is about the places you can't let go of, or the place that can't let go of you. And for me, that was Pincher Creek, Alberta. I was born in southern Alberta, raised in the Rockies on a ranch, and then in the city of Calgary. And I went back and forth and around Pincher Creek all of my life. And yet I was in my 20s before I actually drove into the town with my now ex-husband. And we were going there because he had a choice of two places that we could live. One was Hinton, Alberta, and one was Pincher Creek. I'd never been to Pincher, but I had been to Hinton, and I didn't want to live there. Great place, just too closed in for me. So we decided sight unseen Pincher Creek. And I remember every time I drive down Highway 3 towards the mountains, my soul just opens and expands, and I just feel drawn into this vortex of beautiful energy. And so when I went down the hill into Main Street, which I didn't even know, existed, I thought it was like Pincher Station on the highway, which is kind of bare and bony. And I went into this beautiful little iconic town with the iconic Main Street, and I instantly fell in love with the town. And the town fell in love with me, and we started our family there. We lived there for a number of years, made great friends that we still have 50 years later. And then we moved to Indonesia. And I thought that was that. We were going to be there for a number of years. And after 3 years, I couldn't stand it anymore. I was just missing my family and friends too much. So we bought a property in Pincher Creek, Beaver Mines, little village west of it. And I brought the children home every summer because I wanted them to be Canadian and grow up. And so we kept our relationships going there, and they were very, very close. Then we moved back, and within 2 years of moving back, went through an incredibly traumatic divorce. At the same time, I had purchased a business in Pincher Creek because it was going to be our retirement home. The lady I purchased business from was my best friend. She was also the owner of the travel agency I had just purchased, and convinced me that I would be amazing for, because all I'd done for the last 12 years was travel. It was a great fit. I loved the business. I took ownership of the business on April Fool's Day. And then July 1st, I found out that my husband had been having an affair with said best friend for many years. And naturally, my whole life blew up. Fired her, fired him, worst possible things happening. At the same year, my little home out at Beaver Mines was flooded out 3 times. I became depressed, started taking antidepressants, which I was washing down with rum and coke. Not a really good thing for anybody to do. I would not recommend it now to anyone. At the time, it kept me moving. I was really, really able to mask the anxiety and the fear and the pain and the shame and the guilt and the fear, all the things I teach now. I was in a state of what I call complete incoherence and chaos. Incoherence and chaos comes from living in a state of shame, blame, guilt, or fear, and not taking accountability and living from the center of your sacred soul self. So I marshaled through that and was thriving in the business, and decided my business is thriving. I've got my my act together now. I'm not masking my crap. I'm doing the work. I need to get away from here and find out if this is really where I still want to be. My daughter had graduated from high school. And so we decided to take a trip through Mexico and Central America, near South America. And we set off for a 4-month journey. During that time, I had met somebody that I refer to now kindly, I hope, as Mr. Good Enough for right now. He was sure it was undying love. I wasn't sure of anything. He was in another town. He was actually from Edmonton and I was in the far south. So I thought it was a pretty safe thing. You know, maybe we'd have a date once a month, meet in Calgary, have
Yeah.
some fun and go our own ways. I told him I was going traveling and he decided to sell everything he had, upend his boot and show up in Pincher Creek and tell me he was going with me. My daughter
Oh
and
my God.
my daughter and I conferred and thought, well, you know, we're going to some pretty far-reaching, maybe sketchy places as two single women. Maybe it would be good to have a man with us. So we did that, and we started our tour by doing 6 weeks in Guanajuato in a language course. And that set me off on one of the first of my very, very intriguing spiritual journeys. And I had many. We visited every pyramid, every spiritual site, every Inca, Mayan, Toltec, you name it. If it had rocks and a history, we were there. So coming back was hard. I didn't really want to be there. And yet Pincher Creek had that call. It was the place that kept saying, you're not done yet. You're just not done yet. No matter how many times I left it, I ended up coming back and having some huge life lesson dumped on me. And I was pretty tired of the life lessons. I just wanted to live. So I came back and I'd sold my property and invested the money to go on this big trip with the idea that I would buy my own place with no memories and no men when I did it. And now here I was coming back with no home, still the memories, and a man that I wasn't sure I really wanted to spend the rest of my life with. So I thought, oh, I don't want to do this. And I had a very good friend, Susan Calvez, and she had a little property in Pincher Creek. And she said, well, I'm going to Calgary on a contract job. I want to rent my house out to somebody that will keep it the way I know you keep your home. And so would you and Neil like to live at my place? But I want to come home. However, I want to come home, you know, a couple times a month. And I said, yeah, no problem. So we moved in the fall, and in the spring, she came home and Neil had the flu. So we were sitting there and we were talking about all the times I'd left and come back to Pincher Creek and what huge bombs I'd had in my life each and every time. And I said, I don't know, Pincher Creek won't let go of me. So that weekend, Neil had the flu. Susan and I were spring cleaning the yard. It was a beautiful, glorious spring day, not usual in Pincher Creek in April. Usually we still have 3 feet of snow and driving winds. Excuse me. So we did that, and Neil was in bed. So I said, why don't we grab a pizza and some thermos of tea, and we'll go out to Bovey Lake. The lake kept calling me all day. Bovey is a beautiful, pristine little lake in southern Alberta. And I said, we need to be there. We need to go. Let's go just for the sunset. So we took off and we went to the sunset. And on the way, we were going in, and I saw some fishermen down on the northeast end of the lake. And I saw a little red canoe way out on the lake. I thought, wow, it's a pretty windy, crashy day, and there's still ice on the outer edges. What are you doing out there? Oh, none of my business. Drove by a little park area, and there was a parked vehicle, and it was the son of a family I knew well, the bank manager in town, and he'd been in the swim club that I was a part of. And so I waved at him and we kept going. He didn't bring a coat, I guess, so he was reading in the back seat home from college. And his family was out walking on the same point that we were going to have our pizza and our tea. So we drove around and up to the point, lost sight of the lake at that point until we got to the point. And I could see Nathan in the car way across the lake, and I could see his family walking to the northwest of us. And we started having our pizza and we were chatting away. And I look up and I see Jason jump out of the car and run to the edge of the lake. I could not see what he was looking at. And then he looked in our direction, and then he started waving his arms and running towards us madly. So I said, Susan, gotta go, jump in the car, drive back. So we drove back. As soon as we got around the point, we saw that the canoe was overturned. Now this is in early April. It is frigid. you've got about 8 minutes to stay alive in that kind of water, 12 at a stretch. So I drove up and I could see that, they were floundering in the water. They had life jackets on, but the woman's life jacket was too big and she was really tiny and her face was face down with the collar pushing her down with the waves. The man was trying to get to her and hang on to the canoe at the same time. And so I just made a spontaneous decision. I'm going. And Nathan said, I'm going with you. And I said, are you sure you can do this? He said, yeah, I can. He said, yes, ma'am, I can do it. And I said, we've got 4 minutes max to get there and back. Can you do it? And he said, I can do it. So without even thinking, we chucked off our clothes because we knew from our training that we had to have warm clothes to come back to. I yelled at Susan and said, go to the cabins, break in if you have to, get warm clothes, coats, blankets, whatever you can find. If there's a phone line working, phone the town, send 3 ambulances and warm liquids and make sure they have IVs and heat packs and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, let's go. And we dove into the lake and I'll tell you, you hit frozen water in April. It is nothing that you are ever going to forget. I honestly thought I could raise my body up and walk on the water. I was that cold. We kept doing. Oh, I forgot to tell you that because it was just Susan and me in the backyard, I just thrown a sweatshirt on. So I was literally half naked. So I had no protection. And I was swimming with a young boy that wasn't mine. And I thought that 2-second vanity thing went through my head. And I thought, screw that. These people are dying. We went ahead and we got them back. Nathan got the lady out of the water. I couldn't, the man was really heavy. And by the time I got to the place where I could stand up with him, I was frozen. I couldn't move any further. So Susan and Nathan jumped in the water to help me get him out. And he said, the woman's unconscious, she's not breathing. I went on her. He took the man was having a heart attack. We managed to bring them both back just as the ambulances arrived. Susan's throwing a blanket over our shoulders and a blanket on the people, and the ambulance arrives and we stand up. And as I stand up, I lose my blanket because I'm so frozen. And there I am standing half naked, facing the whole ambulance crew. You know what a small town rescue team is like. Everybody works in businesses and they volunteer as ambulance and firemen. So here's, the mayor of the town and the head of the business council and all of the people that I work with in the town that are also part-time firefighters and ambulance drivers. And I'm standing there stark half naked. And I just stared at them and they stared at me and I went, got my blanket and pulled it around me. The beauty is that not one person ever mentioned that to me except for one. And he would always say, if you want the naked truth, be sure and ask Donna. She's up for it. Which was his reference to, I know you.
Okay, so how did you get through that story?
I asked my angels before I hit that water. I asked my angels, you put me here for a reason. Every time I've been in a situation that was untenable or life-threatening, and I've been through many, an angel has shown up. And I knew that they were there and I felt them around us. And in my heart of hearts, I knew we were going to be safe. And it wasn't even a question in my mind. I didn't think about Nathan, and I thought, wow, if his parents had been there, would they have let him go into the water?
Mm-hmm.
And that kept me awake at nights a few times thinking about that. But for the most part, I truly believe that we are always where we are meant to be by a soul life choice to learn the lessons that we need to learn and interact with the people that are delivering or a part of the lesson. And in the lesson, we grow together and we expand into a sacred soul circle that serves the higher good of everyone in the loop of infinite unity.
Right. I love it. Your story is just so beautiful. So what's the gift in it? The situation that happened, what's the gift?
The gift is in knowing that I could trust. It was a reconciliation of trust and awareness that we are divinely guided. That was the gift in it for me. And to see these two people come back and go on with their lives. They were both stone cold and not functioning when we brought them out of the water. To know that there was value in it and a lesson in it for the people of the town, and the signage around I mean, everything changed around that lake after that day. So the gift is in knowing that I could do anything that I want to do if it's in the highest good of all concerned, and have divine support to do it.
I know you're a huge believer in your angels. And
Oh,
so tell me
the
more about your,
the gift, of course, I always call on them. I call on them in everything. I called on them before I call. Hey, let me have a great call. Help me be concise, because I tend to be mouthy and wander around a lot with my dialogue. It's an old lady thing, I think. I don't know. There you go. See, I just did it again.
you're so funny.
So, I always ask them in every situation. They're the first thing I talk to when I open my eyes, and the last thing I talk to when I close my eyes for the night. And so I've had many, many experiences where they've shown up in real, as a real entity for me. I've been lifted. My car has literally been lifted out of a lane of traffic into another lane of traffic, keeping me from being in a head-on collision. And another time, I was skidding out of control with my car on an icy turn onto a highway, and literally my car would have gone into a 12-foot embankment, nose down into 12 feet of snow. And my car sailed completely out, and there was a semi-driver. The reason I missed the turn is a semi-driver had jackknifed in front of me right on the same curve, and my car was heading straight to it. And I inadvertently yanked the wheel, as you do, away from the direction, which was putting me straight down the embankment that he was trying to avoid on the curve. My angels literally lifted my car, carried it out over the snow, put it back on the highway, and dropped it down facing the semi. The semi driver was out of his truck standing there, and he looked at me and said, "What the F just happened? It's not possible." And I looked out. There wasn't even a tire track. My car left the road, and it never touched the ground, and came back in a semicircle to where it had left, facing in the right direction it was going.
Oh my God, that's
There's no way you can make that up.
yeah.
You have to believe that there is a higher power. At the very least, I should have been buried in snow and needed to be dug out. At the very worst, I should have been dead. And the semi-driver was a witness to it all. And I've had so many occasions where I wrote a story for another compilation book about my mother's passing, and how an angel showed up in the last day of the days that we were there, and created something miraculous. And that was witnessed by 3 other people. And so I know that they're there. I know that they want to work with us. We just forget to call them in. We just forget to ask them. And they're not like us. They don't have an ego monkey brain going on all the time. They come from heart-centered awareness, and that's all that they have. They love to be asked. They love to be acknowledged. They love to love in that manner that's in the highest good of all concern. And that young woman I talked about that we saved from the lake, she sent me after she called me to the hospital, and I went to see her. Excuse me. And she said, "I want to tell you, first of all, that I'm grateful to be here. And I want you to know that I saw your angel." And she'd sent me this beautiful, she sent me this beautiful ceramic lavender angel. And I called her and said, "You didn't need to do this." And she said, "Yes, I did. When you visited me in the hospital," she said, "I was still too gaga to tell you that I saw your angel. And she was large. You were leaning over me with your arms around me. She was leaning over you with her arms and her wings around both of us."
Wow.
She was just this beautiful lavender light,
Yeah.
which I have seen myself. So
Yeah.
then I thought, okay, right, this is just part of the transition. All I can really say, Kelly, is that every single time I needed an angel, I got an angel. Every single time I needed an answer from God, source, creator, whatever you want to call that for yourself, I got it. It wasn't always the answer thought I wanted. It was the answer I needed.
Right. That's beautiful. Donna, I know that like you've got tons and tons and tons of wisdom, and we're about to wrap up, but what is some words of wisdom that you'd love to share?
When you say I am, the I stands for intention, the A stands for awareness, and the M stands for manifest. You are expressing the epitome of whatever God-godding is for you. So when you say I am, whatever comes after M better be positive, something in its highest order of good for you or the people or the situation you're in. If you're feeling something that is not good, express it as a feeling. Feeling is our grace card. It's our get out of jail free card. When we are not in a good place, we can say, I'm feeling mad, sad, tired, angry, broke, whatever that is. That gives our angels and God some wiggle room to bring us the experiences that are going to create a higher, better experience. If we say we're feeling sad, tired, mad, angry, and we don't say feeling, I am sad, tired, mad, angry, they go, we're your God squad. All we want to do is cheer you on and help you. If you keep declaring yourself to be something that is so negative, we can't do anything about it. All we can do is bring you more experiences of that until you get tired of expressing yourself as that. It's an actual energy. And I would eliminate, and this is the hard one for all human beings, we are taught but ugly things as we grow. And but is the one word that you need to eliminate from your life. It's a but of a word. Think about it. If somebody said, I really love your book, but we're going right downhill. So substitute a period, end your sentence, or an and, or a however, or a yet. Just eliminate the buts.
Yeah, I've been taught that too, because when you say but, it negates everything that you said before that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
you got to forget the word but and put the word and in, or however. I love that you're sharing that, because that's a good reminder to everybody.
Our words have energy, and every letter of every word has energy. And how we declare those words forms and shapes our energy. So to be mindful of our words and speak in that manner that's in the highest good of all concerned is the wisdom that I learned.
Awesome. I love it. So Donna, how can people work with you, and what is your website so they can get in touch with you?
Oh, it's really simple. www.donnafairhurst.com. And all of my information is on the website, and you can connect with me in a number of ways, book a number of different sessions. And I'm always up for a zero to clarity call.
Good. Thank you so much, Donna. You're just
Thank
such
you,
a beautiful soul. And every time I talk to you, I don't know. I don't know how to explain the feeling I get when I talk to you. So thank you so much for being so awesome.
Oh, and I love you, Kelly. Your energy is amazing. And you are making such a difference in the world. Such a difference. You're
Thank
making
you.
it for me, and I see what you do all the time, and I just love you so much.
Thank you so much, Donna, because I know, that's one of the things that I love about you, and I love about this is that actually, and this is something I should mention, you are the one who actually suggested that the book should be called Grit, Guts, and Courage, which I then said, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And, I actually talked to a couple of my speaking bureaus about it, and it's actually now my topic that I'm speaking about.
Oh,
And
wow.
now it's a podcast too. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that all came from you. So thank you.
Now, if only I could be as good at picking the title of my own book.
Well,
another
we're
story.
working on that.
We're working on it.
We're going to get that finished for you. So, okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening to the Grit, Guts, and Courage, and stay tuned for the next episode.